Hey Amber, how you doing? All right, this is a great start. I was looking at your writing here, and I just want to address a couple of things. Inside looks very close to my sketch, except the double page image on the sketch. I think that's really interesting. Top I think looks better and more balanced on top. I did go with the color palette I originally had, except not including the gray. Teal, yellow, lighter green. Okay, good job describing your color choices. Had a good time working with the logo. I was trying to crop out the background so that it was round. I get it. Okay. Which appears to be now really a white space around the square around it. Originally, I had it teal. Yeah. Okay. So I would just leave it like that. It's if you're kind of stuck with the presentation of the logo that they give you. Um, so yeah, I think the logo on the white background is the way to go. Definitely. Paw prints. We'll talk about that as well. Change the color. There's a lot of work, but I'm really happy. That's okay. We're going to talk about all of that. So first thing I want to say is excellent start. Really, really good work. Few things I want to really draw your attention to, and please understand, I don't want to direct this project. So I'm not going to tell you, okay, remove this and place this here. I'm just going to make some comments and really want you to think about it and decide if it warrants changing your layout. Excuse me. All right, so the front cover, I think that you're a little bit compromised hierarchy here because right now, where do we look first on the front cover? And the first thing we look at, of course, is this, and there's no fighting that. Anytime you place an image of an animal or a human being and there's eyes, that's where hierarchy is going to go, right there. That when we look at the front cover, 10 out of 10 people are going to look right there first, right here first. So image always gets looked at first, and specifically the eye area of an image gets looked at first if that's included in an image. So there's no fighting that. Doesn't matter what you do, that's where the viewer's going to look first. But then where they're going to look, they're going to look at the next area that has the greatest weight, which is this area. And then they're going to look at this area. Okay, this is bigger. It's got 2 yellow stripes. So, and then this is a little smaller with 1 yellow stripe. The problem here is the last thing we look at here is the logo. That should be the first thing we look at, right? So we've got some compromised hierarchy on the front. I think it's pretty busy too. I think there's a lot of busy stuff going on. The paw prints here, here, and here, I think are really busy. It's good to continue the design element, but in this particular case, I think it's overused. Okay, so I mean, I would say, okay, well, I'll get back to the paw prints in a second. So let's get back to the back cover. Now, production-wise, there are some issues here. The issues are this, is that right now you're taking your panels and you're saying, okay, I want this color to go right to the edge of this panel. I want this color to go right to the edge of this panel. I want this image to go right to the edge of this panel and right to the edge of this panel. Okay, so the problem with that is if in production, if that fold isn't perfect, and we always need to accommodate a margin of error in things like in production, in things like folding and trimming. So you want to design around those margins of error. For example, if this is folded anything but perfectly where the fold should be, you're going to get either a sliver of white on this panel, excuse me, a sliver of white in the center panel. Did you see what I'm saying? So for that reason, I don't recommend trying to bleed color or image within individual panels because it could quite feasibly affect the panel next to it. Now, an alternative here is to take this image and reduce the size of it so you have enough white on either side. It's not going to affect that. This, again, if you want to place a box behind it, go ahead and place it, but reduce the size. I think this is a problem. I'm going to get to that when I talk about the back in 1 second. There's a way to alleviate that. But as a matter of fact, I'll do that right now. Let's say you wanted to keep this color for the back, but right now you've got this white here, this white separation between the 2 panels. And again, if that fold isn't perfect, then either the white is going to be distributed unevenly, or possibly you're going to get some white in this side or some white in this side where the fold is. But what you could do on this page, if you wanted to keep that color, is just to go ahead and run this color all the way to the image. Okay, so this color is basically the background color for the entire center spread instead of having this white strip right here. That would eliminate that, but as you can see, we would still have the issue of this yellow. So wherever that yellow meets where the fold is, again, if it's not folded perfectly, it could get severed, or it could get folded too early. So part of that yellow is on this panel. Okay, food for thought, right? These are real world problems, and I want to tell you something. Trifold brochure design is tricky. It's tricky because you got a lot of these production issues. You've got basically you're trying to establish hierarchy in individual panels and then in the entire composition. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot going on in trifold brochure layout. Okay. Alec, okay, good job on your contact information. I'm okay center aligning the contact information, so that's good. This page looks great. Really good job here. Good job. Great hierarchy. No issues here whatsoever. Okay, center spread, or I should say the center folds of the composition. I talked about that. Okay, this page is really interesting. Good playful silhouettes here. Really playful stuff. Boy. Our mission, our values. Center line, I get it. Okay, got it. Okay, good job with your bullets. Nicely done. That's a nice margin right here. That's a widow. You don't want that. Okay. That's a widow right there. Don't want that. Typeset's really good. Good job here. Now, one thing I'm noticing is there's an inconsistency here. If you take a look at the type scale, this seems to be a point or so less, smaller than this type right here. It's really tough. Check it and see what it. But to me, it looks a little bit smaller. It could be an optical illusion based on the kerning and the fact that this is 3 lines and this is only 2. I'm sorry, the leading and the fact that this is 3 lines and only 2. This is only 2. One thing I would recommend in your typeset here and here is to increase your tracking a little bit. You always want to increase your leading's okay, I think. But if you increase the tracking, it's going to accommodate whenever you reverse type, meaning that when you place white color type on a color background, you want to increase the tracking a little bit, especially if you're using a serif typeface, which you're not. So you wouldn't have to increase that much, but just adding a little bit of space in between the letters. One thing I would recommend is using small caps where applicable instead of all caps. So for example, let me see. You can see this area right here, TRN, that could be placed in small caps. Also, think about using old style figures and applicable use of M-, N- and regular dash. And those are all in the announcements area right here, M-, N-, old style figures, small caps. How to design a trifold brochure. There's some good examples in there too. So definitely be sure you go out and do as much visual research as you can by taking a look at other trifold brochure designs. All right, now, I think this is a little much right down here. I really think it is. I think it's just a little bit too much. I mean, we've got, boy, I'm not even sure about this whole thing, this whole paw track thing here. I think it's, I think it's a little too much. I think if you could add it for maybe playful, maybe something like this across one of the panels, but here, 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 and here, I just think it's overdone. So think about that. Theoretically, what this is doing is placing this in a box, and you know that see how this page right here just kind of has this living, breathing relationship, not only with this panel, but with the entire composition, whereas this one kind of seems like it's in jail. It's boxed off and sectioned off. It can't breathe with the rest of the composition. And I think that's caused by these borders, this thick border here, and then this yellow border up here. So think about that. Okay, so again, I think it's really a fantastic start. But really think about the comments I've made. You might have to review this video more than once just to get everything. I know I'm taking a long time in these critiques for our trifold brochure only, and again, because there's so much to consider while designing trifold brochures. So be sure to go through all my comments here, and you know, even go through some of the other videos in this forum, and you'll pick up a lot of tips. I mean, a lot of things that I'm saying and other students' reviews are going to be applicable to your work as well. So be sure to review as many critiques as possible. All right, so those are my recommendations. If you, oh, this is really super playful, by the way, these cats. I love that. That's cool. Um, this one just seems randomly placed, so I paused before looking at that one. These ones all have interplay. This is really playful right here. And this one, you're creating a little depth with the overlap, but this one just kind of sits there. So think about that. I would say even maybe, boy, I don't know. I would consider replacing that somewhere to add the kind of levity and kind of playfulness there that is included here. And I think that's basically because you're incorporating it with the typography in one way or another. Here it just kind of sits by itself. Okay, so I know I've thrown a lot at you. So again, be sure to review the video once or twice, depending on how you need how many times you have to take a look at this, just to make sure that you apply all of my recommendations. And of course, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any clarifications needed. Great start, Amber. Thank you very much.